Hey you guys, I'm Jazz. Welcome back to the channel. As you already read on the title, this video is going to be about 10 things you should know before starting a hair company. If you've already started a hair company or you're thinking about starting a hair company, this is need to know information. I wish there was someone who told me this before I started out. It would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of headaches. So you guys want to make sure that you're paying attention and that you have a notebook nearby so you can jot down a lot of this information. And we're going to cover a lot of bases today. So I just hope and pray that this information helps someone out there and you guys can take away from this video. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And I'm done talking. We're about to get into the video. So you guys already know, if you see me looking down, I am looking at my notebook because I wrote things down so I can make sure that I'm covering all my bases. And as always, we're going to start with number 10 and work our way to number 1 being the most important thing you should know. Alright? So, number 10 is you guys need to know that you will not make money right away. Like, so many people I see are starting hair companies and they have no prior knowledge about hair. Men are starting hair companies and I don't really understand it, but to each his own. But I need you guys to really understand that you are not going to make money right away. Unless you have like a huge following that supports you, maybe you'll get sales right away. But 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. You will not get sales right away. And if you do get sales right away, you're still not making money because you need to put that money back into the company. The only way the company will grow is if you reinvest into the company. That's a mistake that I made first starting out 4 years ago. I was a really big stylist in my city. Started selling hair and hair was booming, but business was booming. Like, it was selling, but I didn't have no knowledge on what I was doing. I really didn't know how to run a business. I didn't even at the time think about having a business. It was just me getting some extra money in my pocket. I just wish I knew what I know now. But you guys want to make sure you're reinvesting. I was not reinvesting. I was taking the money that I had from sales and I was spending it. I was splurging. I'm like, I'm making all this money. Like, I'm buying shoes, clothes. Should have been going back into my company. So when you guys are getting sales, don't look at it as your money. That is the business money. That is like the most important thing I need you guys to take away from this video. Reinvest. And if you're only in it for the money, you shouldn't even do this because it can take a while before you see your first sale. It can take a while before things pick up. So if money is the only motive, you're in it for the wrong reasons and you might as well not even watch the rest of this video. Okay, on to number 9. Number 9 is figure out who you're selling to. Figure out who is your customer, and that will determine your prices. All right, it's a lot of different factors that will determine your prices, mainly being one, what I just said, your customer, but also how much you're paying for your inventory and your markup value. So, but you want to know who you're selling to, because if you are selling to the more established grown women who have a little more money in their pocket, your prices may be a little higher, but your quality must also match that price. But if you're selling to like high school girls or young girls, they may not have the money to blow $500 on hair. They may be more in the $200, $300 range because their parents are more than likely paying for this hair, and you know how that go. So you guys really want to know who you're selling to. You have to know your customer, and that will impact your prices. Okay? All right, so number 8. You guys have to know, if you're starting out a company, you want to know if you're going to do wholesale or if you're going to drop ship. So wholesaling is when you buy a bunch of inventory from your vendor and you make it a discounted rate because you're buying so much of it. So you buy it wholesale and then you have inventory on hand, right? If you are drop shipping, see drop shipping as once you get an order, you order it with your vendor and they ship it to your customer. So you don't have to have any inventory on hand at all. However, you have to understand the pros and the cons of drop shipping. So I'm going to get into the pros and the cons. That's number 7. So, a pro of drop shipping, like I said, you don't have to worry about inventory. You don't have to worry about shipping. You pretty much don't have to keep none of this stuff on hand. So, it's like, it saves you a lot of time and money, right? However, the cons are you want to make sure your packaging is A1, and if you're not shipping it yourself or have your team shipping it, if you're completely trusting your vendor to ship it for you, you don't know how it's going to come, you don't know how the presentation is going to be. It really comes down to trust, but you don't know if they're even shipping your stuff out in time to get to your customer. So you guys really want to just research and figure out what works best for you if you want to do a wholesale business or you want to do a drop shipping business. Plenty of people have been successful in both, but you just have to know what works for you. Okay, so number 6, are you going to sell raw hair or virgin hair? That is such an important thing you need to know. And do you know the difference? You must know the difference between raw hair and virgin hair. You guys have to do your research. I actually have a video coming that's going to talk about in detail the difference between the two. But you want to, if you're a hair company, your customer is trusting you to know what you're talking about and know the ins and the outs about your product. So you must know exactly what you're selling and what's the difference between you and your competition. Okay, all right, so number 5. Number 5 is budget. You must have a budget in place. You must know how much you're going to spend, because if you're not making money right away, in order to keep the business going, you have to still invest in your business. So you have to set a budget of what you want to spend on inventory, on your advertising, on your marketing, everything. Literally everything. How much is going to go into your site, how much is going to go into your branding. All that is included in your budget. You have to figure that out before starting. You can't just start and then all these costs are coming up and you don't know what to do. So you guys want to make sure you research, and figure out a budget that works within your means, that will also allow you to build your business at the same time. All right, y'all. So now we are about to get into some of the most important factors that you guys really need to listen and take away from this video. All right, so number 4 is brand identity. This is so vital, because with the market being oversaturated, there's so many hair companies. How are you going to stand out? How are you going to separate yourself from your competition? What makes you different? When people think of your company, what do you want them to think of? What is your brand identity? Are you going to be, I don't know, are you going to be a luxury brand? Are you going to be a cheaper brand? A more affordable, I wouldn't say cheaper, a more affordable brand. Okay, so let me give you guys an example. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wazam Super Scent on Instagram. She owns the Crayon Case. Their brand identity is so dope. It makes no sense. Like, it's pretty much tailored around school. So, you know, all of her eyeshadow pencils are like pencils, actual pencils that you write with. The presentation, the packaging is just phenomenal. So when you think of brand identity, think of something that's going to make your brand, your company, your business pop. What's going to separate? Another example, Beauty Bakery cosmetic brand, Beauty Bakery makeup on Instagram. Their branding, their packaging is amazing. Like, oh my God. So because it's called the Beauty Bakery, all of her stuff is in the form of like cake, and it's just so freaking cute. It's so freaking different. The packaging is amazing. The brand identity is amazing. Like, her lipsticks come in like little cake slices, like, because it's called Beauty Bakery. It's so dope to me. But yeah, you guys, you want to make sure that you identify what is your brand identity and how you're going to separate yourself from every other hair company out there. So that's something you really need to put time into and think about, because that's what's going to separate you. That's how you're going to stand out amongst thousands of different hair companies out there. You want to go above and beyond to differentiate yourself. Like, that is vital. Okay, number 3 is like, oh man, I just really wish somebody would have told me this. So number 3 is you have to have a system in place for scammers to securely process your payments on your site. So when people check out, right, you want to make sure your system is lock and key, because scammers are at an all-time high. We all know this. People scamming for a living, okay? And they will order some hair and then a few days later say they never got it, open a dispute against you and get their money back, and you're out of product and you're out of money. So you want to make sure that you have a system in place that is airtight. Also, I want to give you guys a backstory that happened to me. So I was processing my payments through PayPal, and what PayPal do when you first start out is they give you a cap on your money. They give you a cap on your money. What that means is, in your account, your income in sales and your income in revenue, you are allowed a certain amount before they hold your money for 21 days. Y'all, so one day, okay, so let's just say, I think back then, my maximum was $10,000, right? So if I get income in sales that's worth more than $10,000, they hold that money for 21 days. For 21 days. For 21 days, okay? So like when you first start out, I don't even think your cap is going to be that much. Your cap may be like $3,000 or something like that. So if you get $5,000 worth of sales, they're holding $2,000 worth of your money. Worth of your money for 21 days. And if within those 21 days, if you're still making sales, they're holding your money. So I would recommend going about that is contacting PayPal and figuring out how you can maximize your cap and the paperwork. They just require a lot of paperwork to pretty much validate that you're a legitimate business. So you want to make sure all your paperwork is together, all of your legit business shit is A1, because that will mess you up. If you have to order inventory and you can't for a month, oh man. So you guys want to make sure that your processing is intact, that you got scammers on deck, and that you just have the back end taken care of. Don't forget about the back end. Seriously. Packaging, presentation, and customer service, that stuff is important, but you got to make sure behind the closed doors is also on lockdown, okay? Now we're getting into number 2. Number 2 is so important, y'all. Like, you have got to know this stuff. Like, you have got to know everything about your brand inside and out. Seriously, like, do not cut corners. Do not cut corners. So number 2 is you have to know, is your vendor, where you're getting your product from, are they a manufacturing factory? Or are they just a distributor? Yeah, okay. So if they're a manufacturing company, this is where like you're getting it directly from the source. This is the plug. Like that way you're going to have the cheapest prices that you can possibly have to maximize your profits and maximize your markups. Okay, does that make sense? Now, if your vendor is only a distributor, oh God, I can't talk. If your vendor is only a distributor, that means they're the middleman. That means that they're getting the hair from somewhere else and then they're selling it to you. So your prices is going to have to be much higher because they also have to make a profit. So you're not getting it for the cheapest price that you can possibly get to make the most money. So you want to know, you have to know, is your vendor a manufacturer or a distributor? Got to know that. You have got to know that. That's why that's number 2. That's super, super important, y'all. That's going to mess with your coins. So, you got to know that stuff. Okay, so this is the last one I personally feel is the most important. Well, everything is important. But this one is like super duper important. Like super, super duper important. Alright? Number 1. You guys have got to know exactly where your hair is coming from. What is the origin of your hair? You have got to know that, because these vendors will try to play you. And if you're ordering from a Chinese vendor, there's a possibility that you can have synthetic fibers in your hair, that you're not getting what you say they are. Like if you're ordering Indian hair from a Chinese vendor, you're not getting Indian hair. You want to have an Indian vendor. So you guys have to know exactly where your hair is coming from. This is your product. This has your name on it. This is your reputation. So don't try to rush and try to find a cheap vendor, or all these people are selling vendor plugs. How are you going to know what you're getting? So you guys want to make sure that you are super, super in tune with your vendor. You and your vendor should be like best friends. Y'all relationship supposed to be like this. Like you're supposed to, it's a trust. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned some things and took away some things from this video. Like, I made so many mistakes, so you guys won't have to make those same mistakes. Just please do your research, know your stuff, and take your time. Do not rush. Like, good things do take time, and it's worth it getting your product the way you want, and it'll be worth it in the long haul. So you guys just take your time, do your research, sample those hair vendors. Do not let them sell you a dream. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, because I will be posting so much more good shit. Like, so much. Like, I just have so much to share with you guys, and I'm so excited, and you want to make sure that you're here for it, so we can learn as much as possible, and I can give as much as possible. Also, if you guys give this video a thumbs up, that lets me know that I'm doing something right, and that this actually helped you out. I'm just Aigner, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Mwah. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.